Today, my guest is very special. His name is Michael Byrd. Michael is the CRO of Informative. Michael and I had a conversation previously that was supposed to last maybe 10 minutes, and it lasted about an hour. Michael is doing some really incredible things in the area of sales and sales leadership, sales management. So I'm really excited to have him on the podcast today. Michael, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Skip. Excited to dive in here.
So, in about a minute, you've been with Informative for a few years. Tell us everybody about your background.
Yeah, so I got into sales in the early 2000s. Started out carrying a bag, going out and making it happen every day. Progressed up into sales leadership. I had a stint where I became an entrepreneur. I started a few businesses along with a business partner. Taking companies from nothing up into something. Fortunately, a couple of those businesses were acquired, latest of which was acquired by Informative. So they acquired my company in 2022, and then that's when I came on as Chief Revenue Officer, and I've been there for running on just a little under 4 years.
Okay, so what are the biggest differences between when you came on 4 years ago and right now and running a sales team?
Yeah, it's interesting. If I look back to the entrepreneurial days, everything I did myself, right? And then you had to administer the CRM, you had to handle issues that came up, you had to manage sales reps, you sort of did a little bit of everything. When I came to Informative, I had a lot more resources available. We had a revenue ops team, we had people that would, run reports and build dashboards and give me information. I had sales managers for one of the few times in my past career. From then to now, though, when we look at what's really changing, I would argue that maybe not a ton of difference up until the end of last year, but in the last 4 to 5 months, I think everything's gotten turned up on its head, and I think AI has been behind it.
In just so there's been that much dramatic change in how you do your job in just the last 4 to 5 months.
Absolutely. The invention of things like OpenClaw, the Claude co-work that's come out, some of the things that have progressed that have now put the development resources in the hands of the people that own the business knowledge is completely changing the way we look at our business and how we manage
So
it.
that's really great if you've been a developer or you've been an engineer, you know how to code, right? Do you come
I've
from that
never done any
background?
of that. I have zero background in any of that. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to write the first line of code. I don't even know how to access the terminal on my machine. It keeps asking me the last terminal. Like, I don't even know how to do that. So
Yeah.
as novice when it comes, I'm a sales guy.
Yeah.
But I know
Same.
how I want to look at my business. I know what I need to see and what I need to do to be effective. And that's the real difference is Claude Cowork gives me that difference to be able to build that.
So you've always known what you needed to see. You've always needed the numbers and so on and so forth. But now you have the ability to see them in exponentially more insightful ways, I'm guessing, easier. But it's not just about you, right? It makes no sense if you're getting all that information, but you're keeping it to yourself, right? So 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever, when you needed to share insights with your team, when you needed to correct and direct your team, what tools did you have available then?
Great question. I mean, a lot of it was reactive, if I'm being totally honest. It was
Hmm.
gut instinct, right? You have a conversation with someone, you have your one-on-one, and then does it pass the sniff test? Does it seem like it makes sense with what they're doing? We do ride-alongs, we stay right in front of a lot of it was gut
Ride
instinct,
alongs.
right?
Yeah.
And now, if you look over the last couple of years, you've had technologies like Gong, you have technologies like Sales Loft, you have Outreach, and they're all pitching AI, right? But that AI is more of a reactive look, right? They record a phone conversation that a sales rep has with a prospect. The AI looks at it and it reports back to the manager that, hey, they're lacking here or there, or they're not doing as good of a job in these places. Now, the problem that I've had with that type of solution is it gets poor adoption. The sales rep doesn't want an AI agent sitting on their shoulder saying, you did that wrong. Oh, I'm going to tell your manager. Like, that's the last thing that a sales rep wants. So when I've looked at some of these latest innovations when it comes to I looked at it, how does the rep want to be managed and coached? How can I empower the rep to make this a mutual two-way street where they're getting benefit, but it's not sitting over their shoulder and tattling on them when they do something wrong.
It's funny because I've been around long enough. I was using ACT as a CRM,
I use
which
that also. I use
oh
that.
my God! I mean, it was. I thought it was the bomb. It was everything, right?
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that as I manage salespeople, the single biggest problem. It's interesting. The single biggest problem in getting salespeople or being able to leverage the information is compliance. Most salespeople don't fill it in because they believe, to your point, this is just for you to be able to keep track. You don't trust me. It's an activity tracker. It's nothing else. So until you basically say, look, this is how, by doing this, when you put your data in, which, oh, by the way, is not your data, you're working
Right.
for the company. This is our data, right? And
100%.
but until you see the benefit to you, i.e., what's in it for me, you're not going to do that. And I think that all the tools, even with Salesforce, as it came out, and Einstein, and even with Gong, there's still the issue of compliance and the issue of not only compliance, but of quality compliance. Garbage in, garbage out. It's been around since the beginning. It's still around. It's still prevalent. Cliches are cliches because they're rooted in truth, right?
Yeah.
So I think this has been a good time. You built something that you showed me that blew my mind when you told me how long it took you to build, given that you're not a developer. So why don't you take a minute and just share that with us
Yeah.
and tell us about it.
Let me pull the screen up real quick. Screen. Okay. I'm going to start with just a diagram. And for us sales guys, this looks a little intimidating, but it's really not, right?
Okay.
In the past, the data layer, the CRM, that's what we all looked at and got information from. We had our
Right.
reports. That's where we got everything. So the problem with that CRM data is, and Skip, you know this, it's only as good as the reports in the way that you can get them. And that's always been my biggest frustration. So now with AI, what I can do is I can take the data from those reports, and I've got 10 plus reports I feed into AI now, and I pull those reports down and I tell AI to go look at them. And then AI goes in and looks at those reports and it helps me build logic, such as pipeline hygiene. What means a deal is not going to close? What means a deal is stuck? Let's look at historical data. So I've been able to feed 6,500 and something deals over time into this AI engine. And it tells
That
me
many?
that many. Yeah. It tells
That
me.
were you trusted the data quality enough to be able to do that?
Yes, because we actually when I first got here, I put in data safeguards around our CRM to ensure we were getting information uniformly. But it looks at stage duration. It looks at product. Do we have different close percentages on different products? It takes all these components in and it tells me what the most important factor is for my business when I look at it. Now, if someone would have asked me, hey, Mike, what's your most important thing in terms of, if you're going to close a deal or not? I'd say, well, it's probably based on the stage I get them to. The further into the sales process, the more likely I'm going to close them. The AI told me absolutely not. The most important factor, the most telling factor on a deal is age. If you have a deal between 61 and 90 days, you have a 90% chance that when it weights it at 90% of the value if it's in that range and it's getting into a later stage. Once it gets past 90 days, the numbers start dropping off a cliff. I never would have guessed that. I never could have
Well,
derived.
it's funny. The old axiom, time kills all deals.
Right.
What it basically is proving out is that is the case.
Yeah. So I built this intelligence engine that sits between my CRM data and then how we look at it, which is our management dashboard. And I'll show you that management dashboard in a second. And I've taken it and sort of dummied it down because we have a lot of proprietary information, but I kept all the key components to it.
Right.
The management dashboard is the view now that we look at. And let's take a look at that real quick. So from a management dashboard, this is just some mock-up data from a fictitious company, but it tells me where we're at for the month, for the quarter, for the year. It tells me where it expects me to land. And it takes all my historical data and it predicts that forecast based on how the month is progressing, what we've closed, what the pipeline looks like, and then where we're going to land. And then it gives me my reps.
Michael, I mean, has it been around long enough to where you can share how accurate it has been relative to forecast to actual?
Yeah, so interesting. I've actually built a calibration intelligence layer that goes and forecasts over time. And what's cool about AI is machine learning gets better as it gets more information. So as it takes these variables and starts injecting them into the model, it'll run that over and over and it'll become more accurate over time. So right now, my model's at 83% that I have, and I've only been doing this for about a month. But it's getting better every day that it gets more information and more predictability in the model.
Okay, so why does the company need you?
Well, I'm the one that was able to think about, hey, what do I need to see in order to get this to where it needs to go, right? You can't replace this with just somebody that knows how to do AI because they don't understand the sales motions. They don't have the understanding of the business. They don't understand what goes into the sales process. So my role has shifted from a leader and a manager to someone that is a knowledge base expert. I am the most knowledgeable person around our sales process, and the AI lets me be that individual now.
So now, how are the salespeople reacting to it?
So at first, a little skeptical, right?
Yeah,
So they're
sure.
they're a little concerned, but when we talk about the sales reps, so from this management dashboard, as I'm processing that information, I'm feeding it over into an AI coach for the sales reps. Now, the AI coach is a knowledge base. It's also I built in sales methodology. We call it the informative method. We have built in product coaching. So when we look at certifications, we have a certification system where they can get certified on our sales methodology, our products, and all those things. Um, and then it provides real coaching. So it'll tell them they can engage with the individual, with their, they call it Atlas, it's Chuck on our system, but they can engage and ask questions, and it can actually continue to teach them or coach them through deals. Within a week of launching this, I had sales reps that were speaking to our AI agent and having it help them build emails, having it, help, how are we going to approach this deal? How should I talk to this decision maker? Here's the circumstances. And the AI
So
agent is able to push them up on that.
have you been able to implement this and have an or determine an impact on onboarding? Does it
So
make new reps a lot better faster?
so that's what I'm building right now. So I'm looking at coaching effectiveness because we have machine learning built into the model. There's a feedback loop, right? So as the sales rep is engaging in one-on-one meetings with their manager, as the sales rep is getting coaching, are they using the AI agent? Are they asking it questions? So, and then
So
also,
are you recording the meetings with man, and so that when it hears what it's hearing from the sales rep and the manager, it can feed that in as well and determine correlation versus causation?
well, so that's interesting. So when we look at, trying to think of the best place to show this really quick. In the coaching, so this is a coaching view. So they have a one-on-one prep and they have a deep dive. Now, this data that it's giving them it's telling us, what does the data tell us about this sales rep, right? So it tells Jessica here she's got a coverage gap. She doesn't have enough pipeline or weighted forecast to hit quota. And then it gives us coaching recommendations. It gives us detailed metrics that are supporting that we call it an archetype, right? Um, you know, Priya here, well, they're doing well. They got a composite score of 89, solid execution across all dimensions. This individual has a deal velocity problem. So as opposed to the sales manager going through and saying, hey, I'm guessing, I'm doing the sniff
Yeah.
test.
How's it going?
My
You
gut's
know,
telling me
yeah.
this. We're feeding the manager what the data is telling us. And so now when they're coaching them and they're having that meeting, they're able to go ahead and log that information. And the manager certifies the one-on-one was held and the coaching was delivered. They're the ones that certify that. And then the Chuck is telling us, or Atlas in this case, is telling us, is the sales rep engaging with me? How much is the sales rep engaging with the AI agent? And then finally, the certification completion tells us, are they being certified? Are they going through the certifications? Are they engaging in the training and passing the training? And all of those things are now giving us a coaching effectiveness view. And it's telling us You know, because in the past we just did training, like, oh, let's go train people and they're going to be great now. But how do you measure it? So now we have a mechanism to measure it because we can see, are they improving over 30, 60, and 90 days? And are we seeing improvement in their performance? If not, we got to change our coaching. And that's something that's
So
been missing for me.
so we could geek out on this as we talked about before for an hour and a half. So couple of questions, and then we'll move on with more of our more of the discussion, right? So what is it? What is the reaction now of your salespeople? Do they like it? Are they encouraged by it? Are they engaging with it? Are they enrolled in the use of Chuck, or are they kind of acquiescing to it?
Yeah, they are. So when I look at my certification heat map, mine looks way better than this. So they're taking the certifications. I can see that they're engaging it. My coaching effective snapshot, I just built this component with the machine learning. In the next 30 days, I'll get my first snapshot of how effective the coaching is. So I'll start to get indications around that. Overall, the feedback has been really positive. What sales reps like in their performance view, they can see how I look at them. So they can see, hey, Mike in his model, and I have a weighting of bookings, quote attainment, pipeline creation, funnel conversion to make up their composite score. This is how I'm performing. Based on what the data is telling me, this is where I'm going to land for the month and for the quarter, based on what they've closed and what they're projected to close. Tells them how clean their hygiene is, gives them coaching recommendations. This is your top priority this week. This is your 30-day goal. This is how your activities are trending over time. So it's giving them all that information in a snapshot view. So there's no more guesswork from the sales rep. They know how I'm looking at them. They understand what they're being measured on. And so it creates this very transparent conversation between leadership and the sales team.
Are you tracking the effectiveness? One of the things that I used to do when I was implementing training was, you have these sales reps that they think they know what they're doing. They're your top reps, right, and so forth. And reality is, you let them do, as long as they're not doing anything unethical, illegal, or immoral, you let them do it the way that they want to do it because they're driving results. But the moment those results, and so therefore, while you're driving results, you get to do it the way you want to do it. The moment you stop driving results, you're now going to do it the way I want you to do it.
Right.
And so forth. Are you finding that there are different varying degrees of engagement by salespeople? And is there a correlation between those that are engaged and how well they do versus those that are not?
Yeah, I think the old adage for me from a management standpoint was, you're always going to have your A players are always going to be A players, right? They're not. It's not typically a flash in the pan A player. Like they're people that
Right.
They've got a system, they do really well, and they're going to be A players. But for me, the trick in management is, hey, how do I move my B to an A? How do I move that C to maybe a B plus? And I don't want a whole lot of D's or F's, but can I save them and move them up and help them progress, right? So the way that I look at it is, the A players, their composite score should be really good just on their bookings alone. So if they're closing business, the model knows that's number one priority. So if they've blown their number out, it's going to score them at a really high composite score. And so when they show up on my when I'm looking at them, they're going to show up with this green score up here, and I don't have to worry about them. So I'm not, even though they may have their hygiene may be a little sloppy or they may have something else, I'm bringing it to their attention in a one-on-one, but I'm not harping on it. So it's a different style of management.
It is. The challenge becomes the habits of your A players are not being ingrained in the model because they're not being enacted. So your A players, to some extent, are cheating the rest of the organization. No, that's not a derogatory statement,
Right.
but it's kind of there. When I was managing, I used to have the 10-40-50 rule, which is very much akin to what you're talking about. 10%, they just need you to move things out of the way, and they're motivated enough, they're educated enough, they're going to be just fine. 50% are going to be those that are either new or probably churning out at some point, or they're just C players, whatever. But where I spent most of my time was, to your point, in the middle 40%. Those that needed a little bit more education, a little bit more motivation, and they could move up. The key thing here, which is what I really like about this as well, is that segmentation is not static, it's dynamic. And you will be able to determine, is there a 40% player that is now dropping down and becoming a C or D player? Is there a 40% player that is now a 10% player, right? And therefore, I don't need to be Billy Martin on them, right? I just need to, I need to treat them differently because now need to recognize that they are acting differently. And
Yeah.
that's where this model, I think, really does play a big role.
Yeah, and that's our trajectory tab, right? So you're 100% right on. I wanted to know at any point in the month, where's that rep trending? Where's their trajectory? So we were able to build a model around this where
Jeez.
we could do a trajectory and we could show, hey, Priya is on the way up. We're seeing some positive move here, right? Their cumulative deals are increasing. We're seeing that driving her back in the right direction, right? We see, hey, we're not seeing much movement from Emily. So I've actually trained the machine learning on past data to help tell us what are the positive signs that we can expect that's going to prove to us that that person's moving in the right direction.
Okay, stop sharing because this is just going to get really, really. So, like I said, for anybody out there that watching, this is either going to be incredibly encouraging or incredibly demoralizing. I want to make sure everybody recognizes something. Number one, you built this with help, but you coded this, you built this on your own,
Yep.
and it took you 3 months.
I started the first iteration of this was done in 2 hours. That's how fast Quad
Okay.
Code works. I had this spun up into a current version, probably in the last, from start to where it is now, in about 3.5 weeks.
Okay. So I'm just going to say a couple things. Number one, you better expect to get a whole lot of DMs and requests. People are going to want this. They're going to want to know what you did and so forth. I just want to make sure that I get my cut because this is, but in your mind, right? This is where it all has to go. Yes?
100%. 100%. Let me tell you what we're going to do next, right? So the next thing
Okay.
that I'm looking at is I'm building an ICP. What's our ideal customer profile? Go back and look at all of our customers, look at how profitable they are, ingest all this data, and give me an ICP. And I want you to score prospects against that ICP. But I don't want to look for the prospects. I want you to go out, find the prospects, score them, and tell me who are the most prime prospects in that territory based on what you know about my business. So that's what I'm trying to build
I mean,
now.
it is taking lookalikes to the next level, and that is, I Sales Handicapper, the system that I built 25 years ago, was all based on. Now, of course, I built it in Excel, and it was a lot of anecdotal stuff, and the data was lousy usually. But it was based on the premise of I want to go talk to companies that look like the companies that are already buying from us,
Yep.
not those that I think should buy it. Right? I think the ICP has been really tortured because
Right.
it's all based, especially in early stage companies, it's all based on what I want, what my aspiration is, or what I think. Right? But when you start really putting in the data that says here are the characteristics, here's the size they are, here's who we deal with, here's where the lead came from, and so on and so forth. And oh, by the way, every company is different.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, when you put in really good data, you don't even have to determine what the top 10 characteristics are. The model will tell you that.
100%.
Then the
And
model goes and says, go look for people. And oh, by the way, a lot of those characteristics aren't necessarily public. That's
right.
the real fallacy, is that a lot of your ICP is only after you engage
Yeah.
that you're able to find these things out. So then what are those public facing indicators, right? That would be, okay, this is what I look at. And that's what I deal with clients all the time. When I look at product market fit, I look at their ICP and I say, how did you come up with that?
Yeah.
And it's all aspirational.
One of the things that's cool about AI, and this is sort of a cheat sheet for those that are like, hey, okay, I don't have a lot of data, right? I'm a smaller, mid-sized company. We haven't been rigorous about our data. It's not great today. You still can use AI. So what AI can do is it'll build a disposition table. So it'll say, maybe these are 5 qualifying criteria about that prospect. So it feeds us a prospect and then it says, all right, salesperson, make the phone call. Tell us how good of a lead that was. Sales rep comes back and they say, gives those dispositions and why it was good or why it wasn't, feeds it back into AI, and the model automatically adjusts. And so that's the true power behind AI, is the machine learning, because now it's taking the guesswork out of it. It's taking real outcomes. It's continually improving the model. It's better if you have data, but because it gets you there faster. but you don't have to have data. So you're
Every data input
yeah,
continually. So let me ask you this. Let's talk about cost for a moment.
yeah.
Are you turning through? Are you burning through tens of thousands of dollars worth of tokens and so forth? I
No.
mean,
So I started out with a personal license just because I wanted to validate that this was something I wanted to use. I started out with $19 a month. That was the first one I got to, and everything on Claude and some of these they're based on tokens. So how much
yep.
you're building on it, it'll pause you, right? And eventually I got really frustrated. I kept getting paused on the $19 plan, so I bumped it up to the $100 a month plan, and I
Hmm.
never ran out of tokens on the $100 plan. Since I've had to move to a corporate license because I think my IT team got scared of what I was building outside of our systems. I've got to talk to them about upping my account. I do get paused every once in a while, but
Right.
the investment, and even if you're just going to do it as a small business or medium size, you're talking about 1,100 to 1,200 bucks a year. I mean, I'd be scared to tell you
Nothing.
how many plays we're going to pay Salesforce.com this year. I mean, it's
Well,
unreal.
I guess, Michael, the next question is when are you going to build your own CRM?
You know what? I can tell you, if I could get
People
the
are
back
doing it.
to do it, I would do it all day long. My brother is a mortgage broker. He didn't want to go pay some of these low end, CRMs, the $50 a month or $100 a month. He spun up his own personal CRM and website in less than an hour using AI. And so there is going to be that progression. Where I think that AI can benefit a CRM is when it starts automating what has to be done. So that rather than a sales rep clicking through, pops up, hey, here are your top things you got to get done today. We're checking off, we're dispositioned, we're learning about those customers as we go through our day. That's the kind of stuff that AI can do in a CRM that would truly close the loop and make it a complete game changer.
Well, it's interesting. I use Sybil.ai as my AI sales assistant. It's the best one that I've seen out there. And it is literally, it's obviously got, I think, Chat or Claude tied to it. The questions I've been able to ask it based upon even the history. I had 4 calls with this person. What do I need to be doing differently? What do I need to, investigate? And then as upload it, you create your own medic, bant, whatever. You can create your own, and it'll
Yep.
feed it automatically,
Yeah.
and it'll continue to get smarter. And then it'll come back and say you can actually put. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. I mean, I'm 68 freaking years old, and I've seen it all: fax machines to rotary phones that having to get digital switches to cell phones to the internet. I've never in my life seen anything like that. I cannot even do what I'm doing today without AI because it literally is a small business being run by one guy. And you're hearing those stories, countless stories, every single day.
Yeah.
And but when I listen, I talk about everybody's using AI to do emails and everybody's using AI to do this. I will tell you, Michael, this is the furthest I've seen anybody take
Well,
AI from a sales management standpoint.
it's accelerating. So to everyone out there, if you're like, it's not here yet, it is going to be like a rocket ship. How fast this is going to take off in our industry, in our profession. So it's just the start. You need to get into it now. It's not going to slow down. Every day, these AI companies, Anthropic just came out with now you can control your Claude from your phone. You can just send a text. Hey, I need you to work on this. Access this folder and go build it, and it'll text you back. Hey, ask you questions. So I mean, you don't even have to be in front of your computer anymore. Like
No,
it's
so
unreal.
so let's talk the people side of this for a moment. Okay. Um, how has this changed, or has it changed, how you evaluate salespeople when looking to hire?
So I don't think it changes how we evaluate salespeople on the way in. I think the salesperson is probably one of the most protected positions when it comes to AI replacement. I don't think AI can do the job of a good salesperson. I just don't think
Well, I'm
it's.
not talking about replacing. I'm talking about
Oh,
what are the skills? Okay.
yeah. So from a skill standpoint, um, I am looking for people that are technology forward, that want to use technology, that are not afraid of technology. That there's some folks that are just, oh, I don't like the same people we get frustrated with on our CRM that they don't log things in the CRM. It's that
Yeah.
it's that same profile that we're avoiding. So I don't think that's really changed. I think that's going to stay the same. Where I think you're going to see some change is going to be from a management standpoint. I think you're
That
going
was
to
going to be my next question.
fewer sales managers. You're not going to need as many sales managers as we. I think my magic number has always been around 5 reps to a manager in my industry. I think that's going to be able to expand. I think it's something that's definitely going to change from that front.
Well, it's interesting because I just had this conversation last week about the role of middle sales management. Okay, there's you, the CRO. You have 4 or 5 managers maybe that report to you for your teams and so forth. And I've always believed this to be the case. The number one role of a manager, mid-level manager, is to keep small things small. Because the moment that a small thing has to get to you, by definition, it just became a big thing.
Right.
Still a small issue, but the fact that you now have to be dealing with it, it just became a big thing. So for your managers, and like with the tool that you currently got, how are you coaching them up to be better managers to optimize the tool that you built?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So couple things. One, the first thing I'm asking my managers, what are the tedious part of your job that you're spending too much time on? What are the things that reporting, researching data, things like that? What are the things that are just causing you that are manual tasks? We're eliminating those now with AI. Those are gone. So pricing was a big issue for us. It's eliminated with AI now. So first step I'm doing with my managers is I'm removing those monotonous tasks that prevent them from doing what I need them to do, which is being engaged with the sales team and making sure that we're coaching, that we're advising, that we're being engaged in those bigger deals and helping them get across the finish line. So from my standpoint, I see it as let's eliminate all the stuff that we don't need them spending time on. It's a high paid resource we don't want tied up in doing administrative stuff. And then what I want them to do is look at those AI insights, understand what the data is truly saying, because it's a level of analysis we've never been able to get to, be able to take that and be able to coach against it. I want to see movement in their reps in a positive direction because that speaks to 1, their ability to coach, and 2, their ability to lead. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm looking for from managers now.
How is the rest of the organization now impacted, or how are they feeling about this kind of sophistication now in the sales organization?
It's all my counterparts are all now, their eyes are wide open. And they're like, holy cow, how did you, are you a secret developer? I mean, do you know how to write code? I'm like, nope. And now I'm doing a session in our next ELT meeting where I'm going over how I'm leveraging AI tools to automate processes and get better data analysis. And so I'm actually leading a session on that. And I have my counterparts who now reaching out to me saying, all right, Mike, here's a problem. How do we solve this? How do I do this? And so I'm coaching those guys up on best practices and how we can leverage these tools to make their life easier, because I've got counterparts that are pulling their head. They're just so overworked and they're so overwhelmed. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that hard. We can get the data to you in a better fashion where it's more digestible, where it's less headache.
So you mentioned, I'm going to go back for a moment. You mentioned how AI is helping in the pricing. That used to be a big pain and now it's not. Can you give us an example of where that savings and where it's better and not just different?
So anyone that's implemented a CPQ instance knows that CPQ, especially in Salesforce, is a big, giant monstrosity. We have to hire outside developers to come in and develop our CPQ instance. And so what it becomes is this big, giant tool that it takes a lot of time to go and price the different products, because we have pretty complex product packages. So it takes a salesperson for a big group of auto dealers, it could take them 45 minutes to 2 hours to put together a quote. Well, with our AI tool, we want to be able to present pricing before we go build that quote. So what I did is I built all of our pricing logic into an AI engine that's delivered through our chat engine. And all the sales rep has to do is take the intake form that's an Excel document, drop it into the AI agent, and in less than 2 seconds, it presents every pricing scenario, and it says, based on the data that you gave me, these are the ideal products that you should sell this customer on. And so it cuts through quoting, misquoting based on, hey, I thought I could sell them on the heaviest package when ideally I should have gone for the tier 1 package or a tier 3 package. So the AI will actually coach them into, you should be selling these packages to these customers based on these factors. And oh, by the way, we built a complete ROI analysis developed by AI, supported by real hard data that presents on that price sheet now. So now when we present a price sheet to a customer, we've got our pricing, we've got the ideal packages, we know we're picking the right packages for them, and we've got a complete ROI breakdown analysis tied to that price sheet. That what we do in hours now is done in seconds.
What took hours, yeah, you're now doing so.
Right.
So do you have a team now that's building these things for you, or are you still doing it?
So right now I'm doing the bulk of it, but I'm starting to train middle managers on it. And then we're actually bringing in interns that have AI specialties in college, and we're bringing them in as interns, and we're having them help consult us on some of these business problems and how we should structure it. It's funny, we're getting college kids to come in and to help us. We're not ready to go full AI department, but
you don't need to. Where are you located, Michael?
I'm in Tampa, Florida.
So the university system and everything else, and it's just why figure out what motivates the interns and just do that. There's your IT, there's your AI department.
Absolutely,
there's a bunch of college
100%.
interns. That's
100%.
amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. All right, so this has been fascinating. It's still mind-boggling to me. Now, look, I haven't coded. I've been in tech for 40-something years. I don't know how to code, but I built my website in Lovable in 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit less capable than you. But still, I built it in 3 hours. The enabling of things is so amazing, right? So if you were to provide, you're talking directly to a room full of SMB sales leaders, and you've got one piece of advice to give to them, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a great question. My piece of advice to those sales leaders is they should be diving into every single component of their business and how AI can make it more efficient and make it smarter. They should go headlong into AI and figure out how to get there. And I recognize not everyone's technical. Like I said, there's people you can get to help you do this if you're not technical. But
for not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's kids that are in college that are dying for work experience to put on a resume, and they love dealing with AI and all the latest technology, and a lot of them have already certifications in it. So from that standpoint, I think that as a sales leader, forget sales coaching, forget leadership training, forget going back and getting your MBA. I recently went back, got my MBA, and I'm looking at them like I learned more in 3 months playing around with Claude than I did in the 2 years it took me to get an MBA. You need to dive headlong into AI. You have to understand it. You have to understand how to leverage it for your business, because the companies that do are going to take off, and what they're going to do that's going to be such a competitive advantage, their level of efficiency within their organization will be at a level that'll be impossible for you to compete with.
Yeah.
Their responsiveness, product development, it'll be at a level that you can't compete with. So it's going to be critical.
So I lied. That's not the last question. We didn't even touch upon top of the funnel.
Yeah.
So how has AI changed, improved your top of the funnel and lead gen? And when I say lead gen, let me be very specific. Your salespeople, are they self-generating? Is it all inbound? What is it?
So we have a combination. We have an outsourced SDR program. So we feed them lists of information, and they cold call on our behalf and try to set meetings. You haven't gone the true AI SDR route yet. Not yet.
Okay.
We have a marketing team that's constantly generating leads and getting them over to us, and we have partners that generate leads for us, and then the sales reps do their cold calling and whatnot. So from an AI standpoint, I alluded a little bit to this before, but that's where I'm going next. So my next venture is I'm building all of that data around what makes a prospect a really good customer for us. And then I'm going to go out and build the prospecting engine to screen scrape, to go collect data off websites, pull down information that's readily available from our customer base, score those prospects against known factors, and then present that data to the sales reps every week right through our AI agent. So, and then have them score those leads as they come through. So that's how I'm looking at it, is teeing it up, putting it on the screen, giving them those leads that are informed leads that we think are really, really good, having them to give us feedback, have the machine learning score it, get better and better over time. And then the other thing that's going to give me is it should give me a proprietary database on our target customers. That'll be a true differentiator from my competition.
So what percentage of your sales reps leads are self-generated?
I would say right now somewhere around 40%.
That much?
Yeah, 35 to 40%. It's the most expensive lead that I get is a rep-generated lead. But right now it's about 35 to 40%. My industry is a little different in that it's a little bit of a relationship-based network. So
right, exactly.
A lot of the reps have existing relationships and they sort of get us into deals that way.
Right.
We have a pretty big customer base, so we get a lot of referrals into new customers. So that stuff is, we typically say that's rep generated, but it could be company generated. But yeah, somewhere around that 30 to 35%, maybe even as high as 40% with some reps.
Okay. Which again is number one, that's good. But to your point, most of the time it's not cold generation. It's referral. Right. They're able to leverage. They may not be 1 degree, but they're only 2 degrees right away from somebody. And because you've got such a large install base, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to refer to 1 or 2 or more customers that are in that same area or whatever it is it may be. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you see that changing as you build out your new engine?
So I don't know. I think that it's still going to require a voice on the other end of the line. It's going to still require somebody walking in the door and sitting down and having a conversation. I think we're a long way off where people are going to want to buy everything remotely and not talk to humans. I still think that for certain products, you're going to want to know who you're doing business with. So I think there's going to be a portion of it. I think what's going to change is we're going to be smarter about it. So it's not going to be as much. I remember when I first started sales, had a list and act, and I just called. There was no research other than maybe looking the person up, seeing if I can find information about the town they lived in or the company they worked for, or about them themselves. But it was pretty much just burning through phone calls. So I think it's going to be less volume and more quality based on what we know.
And more relevance.
Exactly.
Right. So there's if you're able to warm up the prospect, right, and with stuff that's relevant, then when you finally do get them on the phone, it's a much more pleasurable and effective conversation.
Agree.
Okay. Michael, thank you.
Yeah,
this has been good. It's gonna be interesting to see how I'm gonna cut this up and be able to share it. But I think that number one, I thank you for your transparency. Your willingness to share. I would expect that you're going to get an awful lot of people calling you up and saying, "Hey, kind of like your peers in your company, can you show me how to do this?" And you're going to have some decisions to make.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll thank you. I may reach out to you. In fact, I probably will in about 6 months.
Okay, great.
And I would love to get an update on what's working, what isn't working, what have you changed, big surprise or whatever. And that's assuming that you're still with Informative and somebody doesn't come along and take you away and offer you tons of money.
AI agent replacement.
Right. Excellent.